And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because Joe, Dalan, and we felt like if we're going to be pissed off at the news, we might as well just go ahead and share the wealth because fuck you people. That really wasn't what we said, but it's close enough. I'm paraphrasing highly. It's hyperbole. Emphasis for the sake of emphasis. I got nothing. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I am known as Shujin Dribble all over the place. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name, Shujin. We got everybody on board already, and names are up in place, so it's going to be a little bit easier for me to introduce you to everybody. So from inside the city limits of Calgary, Alberta, where it is currently a balmy -8 Celsius, which, by the way, Yellowknife is currently at -12, I checked. Dalan, good evening.
Good evening. And, winter is really...
Yeah.
Winter is basically pulling a Charlton Heston right now, saying... you want this planet, you'll pry it from my cold, dead paws.
Yeah. Funny, it sounded better in the original Greek, but, that's just the way it is. Some people actually understand that. From the Midwest of the U.S., out in places where vice presidents should never come from again, apparently. Brigid, good evening.
Good evening.
And out towards the water, where we might actually end up having
stop at the water.
Yep, we might have the Rockets' red glare happening all over again in due course. UnrenownedTech, good morning.
You couldn't leave it alone.
It's a lovely poem. That's as far as I'm going with that. That's as far as I'm going.
Yeah. Okay.
People are reading poems again, right?
Yep. There's a beautiful poem read by Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
I believe it's called "Stay the Fuck at Home."
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
And that was not me cursing. That was me reciting
that's
the
true.
Title of a legitimate piece of literary work.
That's true. That's true.
Now, if I do it again, then we have to label the show.
Probably.
We probably still should anyway.
Depending as to how much of Heretic Woman's spirit we channel, yeah, we may end up. We will have to wait and see. As far as to where is the rest of the crew at the moment? Well, Joey,
they're staying at home.
Well, that's kind of where we all are, which is normal. Anyway, I'm sorry. I've. You guys remember that Joey, Dalan, and I do our morning zoo at night on Friday nights. So at one point there was a mention I think I made of Markiplier playing Octodad, and now I can't hear the word normal and not hear in my head normal human being. Just trust me when I say you don't want to ever play that game, but you want to watch Mark play it. Trust me on this one. Anyway, Joey is probably sleeping off so that he's well rested for work, because he's kind of in a position where he is one of those types of people who are working and having to work really, really hard with what he does. Joseph,
the more rest the better.
Yeah.
Believe it, in those situations, because of immune response.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, let's face it, it's still not great weather anyway. That doesn't do good for anybody. And Joseph, well, it's dark stupid in the morning for him. So, he wants to sleep in. I ain't going to take that away from him. You kidding?
He'll roll in here shortly.
He might. We will see. Anywho,
I might send him a 24-pack of espresso coffee. That'll wake him up.
So help me, if you pronounce it with an X again, I'm going to hurt somebody. Don't you do that. So
Chocolate covered coffee beans.
don't.
Dark chocolate covered.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. The problem is I can't use those because they gum up the works on my coffee grinder, which is a pain in the
You
ass.
eat them.
Yeah, see, that's all well and good. So, of course, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. If you are with us live, you can join us over in the live chat, which, by the way, on my screen right now, my live chat is right there. So for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you're seeing it. You're seeing me point in the correct direction, which is, in this case, my left side. But that's the right side. So screw y'all. I don't care. Phyllis, Stephanie, hi, guys. Good to have you. Especially Phyllis, because Phyllis ran into a little bit of a problem with video card. Kind of went boom. Not good. And only because I put in an order for a new video card for myself this week. My video card's been working fine. I got it as a gimme from a buddy of mine for this computer, which is the same computer that I've been using. Oh my God, I don't even know how many years it's been now. 9 years, give or take. I got it when Frankenputer basically ate itself, and this computer's been pretty well souped up. Anybody wants to look it up, it's the HP 1440 Envy. H8 1440 Envy. Yes. Not a grand computer, but what I've been able to eke out of it over all this time, oh yeah, I've done pretty good for myself. So I'm going to be getting rid of an NVIDIA 960, 2 gigs of memory. It's going to go to my son's computer to boost that one up quite a bit. And I'm getting a 1660, 6 gigs of memory, which overall, I don't really need all the extra power for what we do here. But it's going to be nice for me to be producing some of the other video material that I do without crashing the damned video editor, because it just chokes on memory. Imagine that. Whatever. Besides, a little over $200 for a pretty beefy upgrade. You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. It's all good. Anyway, let me go ahead and get us rolling, because we got stuff to do, stuff to talk about, and I do have the world famous horrible scopes on deck, so don't worry about it. Yes, I'm going to keep calling them that, because if I'm going to go ahead and steal a bit, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to steal all of it. You're welcome. So yeah, we've got that going for us. So, to get you rolling with 5 minutes on the clock for you, my 5-minute freestyle starts right now, and this week is Introspection. I had a hard time trying to figure out what I should really label it as, because I don't know. I really don't know what I should actually label it this time. I have run into a problem that I truthfully never thought that I would ever have to deal with. And I don't know how to deal with this. I have an actual existential problem. And I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. The biggest problem that has come down the pike right now is dealing with the knowledge that Bernie Sanders had suspended his campaigning, which is not to say that he suspended his campaign. It's a different thing. He's basically taken the time off to keep doing what he's been doing, which is trying to find ways of helping people who have been affected by the coronavirus pandemic to the best of his ability, which he has been continuously doing. So, Jesus. They say that, not all heroes wear capes. Shit. There's no more truth than that in this case. But the problem is that a lot of the media have pushed the narrative that he's basically said, I'm done, which is not the case. And this is a problem. It's become a problem on many different fronts because I don't like being lied to. I've said before, I will have anybody on this show so long as they're honest. I don't want anybody to be willfully lying or disingenuous. I don't put up with that shit. But now we've got the biggest problem of the presumption is that Joe Biden will become the front runner for the Democratic Party for the presidential elections. Here's where the problem has come up. I completely understand the vote blue no matter who. I get that. I also get the idea that we need to stop this maniac by whatever means at our disposal. I get that. But there's another problem. And I'm having a hard time reconciling all this. Somebody made the argument. Somebody I respect a lot made the argument. Well, we've got all these people who are out there who are pounding the pavement, who are trying to get things together, who want change, who want there to be an actual progressive change. And you're shitting on them. You're basically telling them, look, you've got a choice between this crap sandwich or this less crap sandwich. But, you don't want the crap sandwich, so go for the not so crap sandwich. When we could be having the most grand plate to push forward what we've been wanting for literal decades. Here's the problem. The previous election in my country was, look, vote for who we've got in the Democratic Party, or you're going to be stuck with this maniac. And that's what ended up happening. So now you're going to go ahead and push, vote for whoever it is that we've got for you, or you're just going to get this maniac again. I believe the expression is, I don't negotiate with terrorists. We have the opportunity of making real progress. Now is the time to push for it, not to stick a gun to the electorate's heads. Do the right thing for a change, would you please? This is episode 306 on the docket, Your Honor. I didn't fix the thing on the screen, so you know what, whatever. I'm just going to leave it there. Let us give you a hand. Yeah, I did kind of channel Heretic Woman just a little bit on this one because, I mean, it's Easter Sunday, so, some people get that joke. And, it's Lich Jesus Day, so, I don't know what to say about it other than, believe it or not, I was actually thinking more in the lines of, I don't like to talk about the same thing that everybody else is, and there's enough crap going on in the news. How about we go ahead and end up talking about some stuff that surprised us, that's kind of given us a bit of a smile, a chuckle, something that we would not have expected to have been happening. I'm not saying this is all Pollyanna. I'm not saying we completely ignore all the important stuff that's going on. But, shit, I've been having a really, really... I have been having a really hard time the last couple of days. And if I am, I gotta believe that a whole bunch of other people are too. So I want to see what we can come up with for you. And believe it or not, and Felis might not know this one, but this was kind of inspired by part of the herd. So we've got the horse to thank for that. She knows who I'm talking about, but we'll kind of go from there. I did go looking up information for Rafe Badawi. There is no new information other than there is a very, very vocal call for him and a whole bunch of others in Saudi prisons to be, if not released, at the very least treated in a humane and ethical manner, because they're looking at tens of thousands of potential infectees that way. Because close quarters and otherwise not quite clean and sanitary conditions. So we've got nothing new as yet. We don't know where he is or what his condition is directly. As of the recording of tonight's show, it has now been 7 years, 9 months, and 26 days since Rafe Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crimes. Our hopes and our thoughts are still with you and your family. We are still waiting. We are still hoping. And you know, one of these days, I'm going to find a better segue to get out from that, to get over to the horrible scopes. Because, oh my God, you know, the weeks that we've been doing this so far, and I keep thinking to myself, I should really find a better way of going from one to the other. I haven't found a good way of doing this yet.
You know, when I used to do the WTF news on my shows, yeah, I had a hard time segueing too, but like the opening tagline was always, you know, things are bad. You might be having a rough time. Things might be not looking so good. But after I tell you these news articles, you're going to think to yourself, you know what? Life might suck, but at least I ain't these guys.
You know what? That's there's something to be said for that.
Well, considering I would go from standard WTF news to Florida Man, and then to the Darwin Awards.
Okay, yeah, you got.
Yeah, okay, like, you know, surely there can't be anything worse than Florida Man, and to quote Skippy the Magnificent, hold my beer.
You know what I'm thinking?
What are you thinking?
Don't call me Shirley. You knew. We were all thinking
I did.
We were all thinking
I jumped into that one.
You jumped into that one teeth first. Who are you kidding?
Actually, what was that I saw earlier today?
I don't know.
Something about
porn?
No, death diving. It was called. It basically is like belly flop championship.
Oh.
I was thinking more like spelunking inside of like a crypt or something.
No. This was like, okay, you guys have seen, you know, like professional diving competitions, right?
Oh yeah.
And you know, it's all form and poise and minimizing the splash as you hit the water,
as opposed to ending up looking like a. Yeah, I
So this death diving or whatever it was called was exactly the same. Was just what you described. Basically, these guys take a running start off the platform, gesticulate wildly, and I honestly think the louder the slap their body makes on the water, the better points they get.
Oh, that would hurt though.
But in all truth, I would push for that as an Olympic sport. Why? Because it looks like fun.
And don't forget, some people have much higher pain thresholds and tolerances, but yeah, water doesn't compress people. You could literally break your neck.
Yep. As somebody who screwed up his back because he panicked in the air off of a high dive.
Ooh.
It was, okay, I'll make this one quick. At college, I went off the high diving board indoors. I came up for a I did the usual, jump up to flex the board, came down, bounced off of it, ready to do this nice, gentle swan dive, and up at the top of the arc, I suddenly panicked and had a time dilation moment where I looked around and I could see the triangular girders, holding up the industrial ceiling over me, and I realized, shit, I'm way up high in the air compared to where I'm about to be. And I ended up hitting the water, and I call it porpoising, because I hit the water and I flexed and came right up again right after I hit it and wrenched my back. And I've had this for pretty much all of my life now, comparatively. So, yay! Panicking when you're in the top of a dive from a 3+ meter board. I don't know how high up it was. One of these days I should really find out. But it was not a great moment because I'm up there and I'm just like, I can almost feel the breeze coming off of these girders. You shouldn't be able to feel that. Oh, look at where I'm about to be. That's not going to be comfortable. As somebody who's afraid of heights.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there's a little insight into the stuff that I've got that's going into my head. So congratulations. You learned something new about me. But not all of it. So let's go ahead and do this and impress folks. So for those of you that are paying attention for the horrible scopes, please remember, if you know your astrological sign, all the better, because I don't remember which the hell ones they're supposed to be for you. It doesn't really much matter. If you don't know, just make it up as we go along, and we'll kind of work this the way that we normally would. So let me just go ahead and kick it off with Aries. Things may be a bit confusing this week. It might be even more confusing than that night in college with your bio teacher and that tank of nitrous oxide. It's time to send the payoff checks before you become a trending topic on Facebook again. Dalan, you get next.
Taurus. A sneeze will cripple you on Monday. Then you'll throw out your back eating a taco on Tuesday. Wednesday will be your old wrestling injury flaring up from the weather. Thursday, well, just don't fix the trash compactor or the garbage disposal. And Friday, I'm in love. See, these horrible scopes are the cure for everything.
Gemini. Something will slip out of your hand and break your foot tomorrow. Yay. Most likely, it'll either be a dumbbell while exercising or an aquarium tank. Either way, you're doing it wrong. Dumbbells should only be used as the counterbalances for your home-built trebuchet, and that aquarium tank is for growing your own fish for your Friday fish fry. Or just raise beavers.
So much.
I
Cancer.
I know.
You need a pet. Go ask someone to pet you. It's okay. We won't judge you. Hell, we could all use some contact time. Like how a collection of cats will all just lie on each other and take a nap together. Remember, the kitten on top of the pile has all the power because you can never disturb it once it's on you. We humans know this rule. So do they. It's the one universal constant on the planet.
And since it just showed up, by the way, and I need to reallocate everybody's name badges over here. Joseph, good morning. Glad you were able to make it.
Yeah, good morning. I had my somatic gas between two chairs this morning. Woke up at 4 too early and went back to sleep until just now.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and finish off the horrible scopes and pull you in proper. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. Leo, you will be eaten by coyotes. And by you, we mean sheep. So that you at the start of this listing should be you and not you. You're following this, right? I mean, you are following it. Look, this whole thing is just an excuse to sneak in a lion and a lamb joke. If you missed it, well, you're obviously not the self-absorbed Leo we thought you were. Dalan?
Dalan?
Oh, sorry. uh, Virgo. An unusual kangaroo will play a pivotal role this weekend. She's never been to Australia, but she comes from Sydney. That's her dad's name. She thinks she's a watchdog for some reason. Might be that she keeps a pocket watch in her pouch. So if you see Sydney's daughter, the kangaroo with the pocket watch, go up and say hi.
Libra, we know you're sick and tired of all these job placement ideas because you keep failing at the jobs, but we've seriously got the right one for you. Even you can't screw it up. Ready? Radio show ventriloquist. Come on the show and show your voice into a little mannequin dummy. No one will be able to see your lips move while you're still practicing, so it's win-win. And if you think this isn't a real one, just ask Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
Oh.
It's true. It's true.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going there. Scorpio. You thought everyone forgot about it, but they didn't. You tried to forget, but it's been haunting your dreams for years. And finally, we have the answer for you. Are you listening? Good. The Arby's condiment called horsey sauce does not taste like what you've always thought it did, even if the coloring was close. Now, don't you feel better about your friends who love this stuff?
I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell for these. I really am. Sagittarius. Seriously, you're wearing that. Look, we're all for putting on whatever helps you stay comfortable, but jeez, man. 6-inch stiletto heels with locking ankle straps in white before Easter? What were you thinking? At least you'll finally get to use that punk blue hair coloring. I mean, it's only been expired since, what, 2017?
You know, the first time when you read that one on Friday, I had just seen a video meme, I think it was on Facebook, about when the kink club is closed, but kinksters still need to kink. And ladies walking down the street, 8-inch heels, latex catsuit, wearing a cat head that looks like something one of our fursuit creators would have made, dragging a recycle bin on a leash and whipping it.
I saw that.
Yeah. So when I heard this one, I saw that and kind of went,
You go do your thing.
yeah. It's like, dude, you do you, whatever. Just, yeah. Capricorn. You've folded so many times, you look like an origami model of a black hole. Which is funny because most people just take a sheet of newspaper, crumple it up into a ball, light it on fire, take the ashes, put that inside another crumpled up sheet of paper, and burn that over and over again. Our design might be more accurate, but you've got the artistic aesthetics.
Aquarius, listen carefully. We have some words of wisdom for you to remember. It's all fun and games until someone suggests playing Uno with the online jump in and stacking rules. Then it's a table flip challenge. It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye, and then it's a scavenger hunt. It's all fun and games until someone calls the police. Then it's a game of keep away. It's all fun and games until someone calls a lawyer. Then it's a deposition. If you put all the sentence's first letters together, you'll find the actual secret meaning, or weren't you paying attention?
There's a whole story in there, and I just had all kinds of fun.
Yeah. Pisces.
My fellow
This whole
fish.
self-isolation thing. What?
I said my fellow fish.
Uh-huh. This whole self-isolation thing is a huge help for you. You do nothing but piss off everyone you come in contact with because you are a self-aggrandizing, opinionated, snobbish prick with a superiority complex. Don't believe me? Just look around at your other Pisces friends and try to guess which one of them heard that and thought, yeah, but I'm the best at what I do, right? Chances are they can picture you feeling that for yourself.
I
I
cannot
may
tell
know
a
a
lie.
Pisces, and I'm not referring on this panel.
I cannot tell a lie. I had a really hard time not saying that about myself when I was writing it. So there it is. So there are your horrible scopes for this week. We hope that you enjoy them. Remember, no backsies. Always look for the union label. Store credit only, and in the original wrapped container, or 15% restocking fee. I don't know. We'll figure something out later. I gotta get a collection of those to add to the whole damn thing. Anyway, so from Paris, Joseph gets to join us. How are you doing, by the way? I don't think I've seen very much from you this week.
Oh, what do you mean on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Social. Well, I've been pretty busy, actually. I've been going into work every couple of days. We're sleuthing out the entire network while everybody's gone, and that involves plugging and unplugging a lot of stuff, which would normally not be possible were everyone there working. So,
Yeah, true that. There's a definite opportunity for that.
and plus making a 3D interface for the whole thing.
So
Very cool.
you've been busy.
Oh yeah.
Fair enough.
I hope how have you guys all been?
Well, that's something that I didn't tell everybody. I told everybody just a little while ago that I finally pulled the trigger on getting a new video card on order for myself.
It's funny, we ordered the same card. It's different manufacturer, but we got the same. We ordered the same GPU topology and series.
Cool. Yep. So I'm going to be going from an NVIDIA 960 type to an NVIDIA 1660 in the next 2 weeks, whenever it gets here.
I know
I'm in no rush.
Dude, I'm going from a 650. I'm even lower on the food chain than you are. Can you imagine?
You don't even want to know what I'm using.
Onboard built-in embedded graphics?
Yeah, using my Mac Pro's laptop. But the Mac Pro I'm using for 3D stuff is from 2010, actually.
You know, I'm not a fan of Apple in terms of their software and how they lock down their store and their environment and such. But I will say this: they make good hardware. They really do.
Well, they pay attention. I can't say I don't think I'm a fan of anything, but they've been okay. They're forcing you into a walled garden, but whatever they decorate it with is pretty nice. But I've lost faith in them recently for other things. If I could, I'd build my own machine.
Fair enough.
If you go to pcpartpicker.com, this is not a plug. There are videos on how to build your own machine depending on your price range, how to connect things together based on the connection types and such. So it's a lot of good stuff in there. It's not just, hey, buy this stuff and put it together. It's these connection types fit this way. You're going to have this kind of a problem with these kinds of board and so on and so on. And there's in the forums, I have never, except for Tech Comedy, when it came to asking for help, holy crap, they're very supportive, even for the first timers, especially the first timers.
Excellent. So there may be a way of helping out for later when you get the chance. Yeah. The other bright thing that I can tell folks about is I may have kind of whipped hexadecimal into shape. Hexadecimal being the server in my basement, kind of made from mostly recycled parts. I finally got sick and tired of thinking about it, and instead of trying to put a server OS in there, and having a puke again, I just put desktop and put the server software into it, and for the moment, it's behaving itself. It's very baseline, but I'm sharing folders. I set up a very simple Minecraft server that works in my house network, which is good. And I found out that I've got a lot more bandwidth in my house's network than I thought, because I can stream. Fine, I'll say it. I have the My Little Pony movie, the recent one, ripped in 1080p, copied over to that machine, and I can stream it to several devices simultaneously and still have a lot of bandwidth on my home network with no issues. That's cool. So I'm pretty happy about that right now.
You want to hear fun?
Mm.
I don't know if you've got a few spare computers kicking around, but you should look into virtual servers. You can take like three machines and like band them together. It's something I'm using at work. It's called VoxMox, and you can take three computers and have load distribution across the three, and you can create as many virtual servers as your hardware can support. You can have one server for your mail service, one server for your Minecraft, and all of that. You can create them on the fly and allocate resources, and even have different operating systems running in each one. And if you make a backup of, all the stress, yeah, I love all the stress of working on physical servers. If you fuck something up, you got to go back to a snapshot or something like that. But with a virtual server, if you fuck something up, then you just trash it and restart again without affecting anything else. So you could have like a park of like well, 3 to 5 old computers, and you can, out of that, you can make a really, really, really performant machine.
Yeah. Not something that I've got available to me for the time being, but it's actually pretty cool.
I've got some old Macs kicking around. I'm gonna eventually dedicate them to that. Got one where the monitor is not, that old iMac, the monitor is not working anymore.
There you go. Cool. So, being that it is Easter Sunday, and we know full well that a whole bunch of folks, as of recording tonight, would be, seeing about getting together for dinner, regardless of what belief system or non you might have. We know full well, this is one of those big threes for a lot of folks where, you'd get together with family because, it's kind of what you do. I would have otherwise been getting together with, my in-laws and having dinner. Obviously, with the way that everything is locked down, no. Hell no. No, it's
Not
just...
like you hate them.
No.
No,
You
still shouldn't. This is not the time for that.
No, yeah, this is definitely not that time. But, this is also an opportunity for us collectively to go ahead and say, God damn, do we miss you, Heretic Woman, for times like this? Because she'd be able to tell us properly, no, he was a lich, here's why, and I miss that. I goddamn miss that. Because I don't remember what all the stats should be or the reason for it all. All I remember is that see, part of the problem was that she was a redhead, so she didn't have any soul anyway. So she was perfectly suited for this whole damn thing.
Just remember, Jesus saves on rolls on saving throws against the undead.
It's kind of like being the king of the undead. So, I mean, as long as you don't roll a natural 1, I mean,
yeah.
Makes me wonder if Jesus' name in another language was like Arthas or something like that. Some gaming geeks will get that one.
I would not be one of them. Oh well.
Well, I do think that the crucifixion was kind of prescient, though. If you look at how the arms are outstretched in all the depictions, that's how far apart we're supposed to stay away from each other.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Social distancing.
That's a good point. You would probably appreciate this one. I don't know if you saw this one. There's a thing that's going around on Facebook right now where a woman has got a homemade face mask, cloth. Now, let's be fair about this a second. We know full well that these things are not medically suitable. They're good enough to try to make sure that you don't accidentally spittle out into the air on people or to kind of contain it all. We know
Not
that.
speaking moistly.
Yes.
I hate that word. Oh my god.
You know,
Pray.
when he dropped that one, I kind of went, I guess that's kind of, that's our covfefe right now.
No, it's not, because moistly is a true word. Okay,
It's just
actually
uncomfortable.
How it was used, it
It
kind of works.
It works.
Well,
It works, but it's awkward, and I understand that. But I would rather have somebody who can use words as basically they're intended. Granted, awkward and all aside, it actually works, rather than make shit up.
Well, what I like best about it was what he said afterwards, where he's just like, "Oh boy, that was a bad way of saying it," or something like that. Although what he was trying to do is he was trying to not say to have people spit on you.
Talk when you spit, or spit when you talk. I mean,
yeah. He was trying to be delicate, which okay, I'll give him credit for that. Although I'll admit it did turn into one hell of a meme, but still.
You know what? It turned into a song. I love that. That was
I know.
great.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, that was still entertaining. That brought a laugh to my to my feelings, to my heart. It made me smile, and it was okay. It was an awkward situation. Somebody's having fun with it. They're making people smile. This is a good kind of thing that we need right now, because the message wasn't lost. It's still there, awkward, but still there. And it's a good message, and it was well intended, versus having somebody who's decided that they don't have the viewer ratings where they want them to be. So they move their daily speech from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And then when they're having a meltdown over still not having what they want, they decide they're going to do what other people can't do, and that is go to a golf course and play some golf at the taxpayer's expense.
Tech? We're not going down that rabbit hole.
Too late.
We're staying out of those rabbit holes right now.
So, in other words,
with
everything on your side of it, I'd trade you in a heartbeat, honestly.
The problem is there's no way in hell that he would take that. So here's where I was going with. Brigid. Woman has a homemade sewn, get it right, face mask with a pattern on it. And she took a picture of herself. Somebody pointed out, are those a whole bunch of penises that are printed on that material? And she said, anybody that is close enough to be able to see that and mention it is too close to me. That's how I know they need to back the hell off. Now, knowing full well that these are not exactly medical grade, I think that this happens to be one of the more creative solutions to tell people back the hell off.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy with the noodles? He made a ring that he could wear on his head, and it had pool noodles, 6 foot long pool noodles on it. I was like,
yep.
You're still not covering your face, but that's a good start.
Yep, we talked about that last night too. That
it's okay. Thinking about that mask, Oh, that's that's one of the best plays on the "if you can read this, you're too close" signs.
Exactly.
You know, you gotta give her credit for that one.
Yep. It gets the point across, and you know
I
full
like
well
it.
the embarrassment factor. They will not forget that anytime soon. I'm sorry, hun. You were about to say.
I need one of those.
uh, no, I did
Yes,
not.
I do.
I did not mark this one as not safe for work. I can't say that now. I
You
will
can't
have to.
say it, but I would love to have one of those.
You're really not helping.
The mask, you idiot.
I want the mask. I want the mask.
Still not helping me at all over here.
Hey, I'll tell you, Jim Carrey. Okay, you know that suit and everything. I understand why she wants the mask.
Wrong pocket.
Da-da-da.
There's some people who understand. Stephanie had put, and yes, I saw this and I cheered, no lie. Did you see about the landlord who owned? I'm paraphrasing a little bit because I need to make sure that I get the information in here. There was, I believe it was in Texas. Could be wrong. I think it was in Texas. There was a church that said they were going to continue to hold services even though there was a lockdown. Now that's why I'm saying I don't remember if it was Texas or not. I don't really much care. It doesn't matter. The church was going to continue to have services. The landlord was going to have none of it and came and changed the locks on the doors.
Oh my.
I
I
saw that.
cheered. No lie, I cheered. Sitting
I was
here
happy.
in this office, sitting in this chair, right here, I cheered. I was very, very happy to see that.
Did you see what they're doing in Kentucky?
I'm going to go with no.
It's Kentucky.
It is Kentucky, but I have to hand it to him. The governor is adamant that people will not be going to services tomorrow, and people are all going, "But my freedoms," and blah blah blah. And so they're sending out people tomorrow to get license plates numbers. And anybody who congregates in groups of 10 or more tomorrow, regardless of whether it's a church or wherever, they will be reported to the health department, and they're under a mandatory 14-day quarantine.
Wait,
Damn.
the individuals or the facility?
The individuals will be put under a mandatory 14-day quarantine if
Okay.
they violate his order to not congregate.
Okay.
And I think they should lock down this facility on top of it.
Yeah, I would agree. The problem is from a legal standpoint. Oh my God, I can't believe I actually have to say this one because I know about this one. There can be a legal argument for who was actually at the congregation simply based on the vehicle because it's impossible to know without actually seeing who it is who might be driving the vehicle. The registered owner would be presumed to be, but it's entirely possible that someone else could have been. Ergo, you're going to end up getting into a big legal muck about this whole damn thing. And as far as I'm concerned, I'd still go for it anyway, because any opportunity to piss off these people who are going to go ahead and get Betty White killed is fine by me.
I think Betty White's going to survive this.
She fucking better.
She's
I
going to
just
survive
thought it
the
was a
apocalypse.
brilliant idea, and to let it be known,
Oh, yeah.
we will be looking for you, so don't do it.
You know, I'm normally not one for authoritarianism, but in this case, given that this is a public, I mean, this is a freaking medical.
But this
Emergency.
It's a
isn't
medical
authoritarian.
emergency, and this will get people killed if people violate it.
This isn't truly authoritative. You said it. I can't.
Authoritarianism.
Right. It's not in that
It's
respect.
violating a public health order.
Right. We have a current pandemic that is worldwide. We are under a health restriction due to medical safeties. Okay. We're not, this is not somebody going, I don't like you, so I'm going to do this. This is a requirement. This needs to be done. We need to there is actual legitimate reasons here, not I don't like you.
Yeah, that's what makes all the difference in the world. Why is something being done?
So, okay, look, and trust me, I'm not doubting any of this.
Oh, yeah.
However,
To be fair,
No,
well, no,
no,
but
he's got the floor. He has to do it.
when this came out in China,
Mm.
they were welding people's doors closed to help prevent the spread. Now, granted, that's not necessarily something we can do over here unless you've got a real whacknut in charge. And crazy as 45 might be, he's not that crazy.
That we know of.
Uh,
That we know of. That's
give him a
fair.
chance.
okay. I think that would be one of the moves where, like, you know what? You really have to work to torpedo your own campaign in that respect. And that would be a way to do it. Anyways, what I'm getting at is, I mean, in that respect, anyone who would be going up, well, okay, I guess that would be more preventative. Now, I'm just rolling this one around in my head. So, because these people that they're going after in Kentucky, they are violating a law that has been issued by the governing body, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in that respect, to be able to go after these people, yeah, they are breaking the law.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a little heavy-handed. However, these are interesting times.
I don't think
You know,
really have... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, I really don't think you have to look into it as we're citing authority and all this and all that, but I think it's simpler than that, because I mean, these laws are in place. I mean, the origin of these laws are there because certain behavior has been demonstrated to be damaging to others. That's the reason for the law in the first place. So if, I am totally against deciding things for other people, totalitarianism or whatever. But if somebody is unable to reason or unwilling to reason, and their behavior is one of those that has been deemed by the greater populace to be harmful to others, then just like any other, like a thief or whatever, they need to be fixed. They need to be removed from society until they get it and are able to integrate it again. I mean, it's not really authoritarianism. If their behavior has been deemed harmful to others, which it has been, as in social gathering, then it wouldn't really be authoritarianism to remove them from society or to...
Yeah, and I think it's important you said harmful to others, not harmful to the state.
Exactly.
Because as soon as you make that leap, then yeah, you are getting into authoritarianism.
Oh, that's
which,
yeah.
Plus, it also depends as to how long that order is to stay in place.
Well, now you see that,
Until
and
they
that's
get it.
well, no, but the thing is, that's been another concern that a lot of people have had, where a lot of these laws or proposals that are coming up now, the fear is that at some point, when it's time to take those away, some people might not, because it's like the One Ring. It's like, no, I'm going to continue to use this because it makes me powerful.
And we know here in the United States who would not be averse to doing something like that, and that's
So
one of
that
the
would be anybody in political positions right now.
Yeah, we
I mean,
don't have
let's
any.
face it, that is not a left. That is not a single left or single right thing. That's across the frickin' board.
that's
We
anybody
don't
who
have any
desires power.
federal stay-at-home orders right now, though. That's the thing. It's been left up to the states,
That's a
and
problem.
you have these people like DeSantis in Florida. Yay, Florida! Um, who's ready to send the kids back to school now because, well, the kids don't seem to be affected very much by it, so why not?
Uh,
And then
That's
You know what?
Texas is like, we're ready to go back to work now, so we think we might open things up Monday.
That guy not only needs to be removed from society, he needs to be removed from office. I mean, that's widespread damage he's doing.
Uh-huh.
He could
Well-
be responsible for the deaths of, like, millions. Well, I know. Florida alone, hundreds of thousands.
But yeah, he's ready to send kids back to school now, so just because kids don't seem to be dying from this, I mean, some do, and I guess he hasn't heard about them, but he also then again admitted or was that Georgia? I don't know. We have so many really dumb governors, it's hard to keep track.
Now,
Actually, it was Georgia. As
Georgia
I
was the
recall.
one that was like, I didn't know people could be asymptomatic. I just
yeah.
found that out 24 hours ago.
Oh God, I threw up in my nose just a little bit hearing that one, man. Just
Yeah, people like this in charge scare me.
In times, but this is exactly, it's funny. This is, when you look at our quote unquote providers, this is exactly how they want everyone to be. And that's fine when, as long as there's no crisis going on. But as soon as, we get into a survival or live or die situation, where our environment is not as cushy as it usually is,
Yep.
then that's when all this comes out.
now, since I was trying to kind of take things from the brighter side of this bleak outlook that we've got at the moment, there are a couple
There's
of
a brighter
things.
side?
Sorry,
There's a brighter side?
there have been. Let me give you an example that kind of goes on with this one. The flip side of let's send the kids back to school because they don't seem to be affected. Which, by the way, that in and of itself, that's great. What's the average age of your administrative and educational body, by the way, over there? Thanks. Appreciate that. We'll find out how many subs you guys have got and how many bus drivers that are a little bit of the old. You know what? We'll leave that aside a second.
Damn, we're all out of subs.
They
all died.
On the left coast of the country, out Washington State way, out there, one of our good friends, and I don't think I've got a problem with saying it, Rebecca Friedman from Ask an Atheist with Sam Mulvey, plug, there you go. It turns out she had a post that she did recently saying that she is now officially, I forgot what the term that she used for it was, but that she is officially, for the remainder of the school year, it would seem, basically a teleeducator. I don't remember what the term that she used for it was, but how this has changed so radically in such an incredibly short amount of time. I don't care what school district, any educators that have been on the front line of making this jump in how we educate our kids, keeping them in the loop, trying to help them keep up with their schoolwork so they don't end up being the class that's left behind. Wow. I'm absolutely flummoxed and just incredibly grateful that these people have been able to do, and they still don't get nearly enough money for what they do. Really don't.
One of the things that I've been hearing from coworkers is that they've been, in many cases, and I hear it as a complaint, forced to spend more time with their kids with regards to their homework and studies. And when I hear that, my background, and some of our viewers know some limited knowledge of my history and things that have gone on in my life, and I want to strangle them. I really want to beat their heads up against, uh, to quote the military, I'd like to engage them in some wall-to-wall counseling. And if Joe was here right now, he'd be laughing his butt off.
Woof. Okay. Keep that in mind.
Because you know why and everything else. But the side effect is that, yeah, here are the kids who just get out of my niece, for example, and my nephew. They are being forced to work remotely from home with it seems to be the common thing is Google Classroom right now.
Yep.
Google Docs and all that, G Suite. And so when they have something that they're having a hard time understanding, and their class is done for the day, they go right to their mother, my sister, and they talk to her right about it. They don't have to wait till the bus gets home after they've fooling around and forgotten everything. They can go right to her right then and there. And she actually likes that because she can sit in the background and she has the opportunity, since it's her husband who does the work from home stuff, she gets to sit there and listen to what they're learning and go along with it. And she feels that they're getting a better understanding by being able to get that immediate turnaround with my sister, with their mother. And I see that as a win in many cases, at least for the parents that want to do that.
Yep.
I know it was roundabout. Sorry about
No.
that.
I just have one thing to add. G Suite sounds very sexy.
Well, my son is using G Suite at their school.
Young?
Because they've got the Google Classroom built into it.
Yeah, it works out. It works out actually pretty well. My little one has an account through that simply because it works out well, and the opportunity of being able to kind of get notes, get help on notes, kind of contact everybody and see what's going on whenever. That's brilliant. Plus, in his case as well, he's fortunate enough that at least one of his teachers is just like, you know what? I'll be teaching this course at this time and this time and this time during the day, and you show up for whichever one. So long as you're in, that's good. So for physics, he doesn't have to be getting there at 7 or 8, whatever time the first one is. He can wait until the middle class where it's mid morning, and he's a little bit more awake, and that's great. When you're at a high school level, especially, I mean, as a senior, that's kind of what it's going to be like for you trying to figure out what your classes are going to be or should be for college a year from then. Lord knows, I learned that there are certain classes I shouldn't be taking at 7 in the morning. That was, sorry, 8 in the morning. That wasn't really good. Although I did think at the time that conducting class at 8 in the morning wasn't going to be that hard. No. I learned that was a mistake on my part. Yes, musical conducting at 8 in the morning is a lot more complicated than I ever gave it credit for. So, I'm an idiot. What did I know? It's a good class, though. Anyway. I did say that I kind of got inspired from somebody earlier tonight. Or I should say yesterday. And one of the stories that was given to me, and I'm gonna have to get the link and see about adding it to the show notes. there were two ladies up in Alaska, so Felix knows what I'm talking about now, who apparently decided that they were going to help people to smile just a little bit. So they went walking around in Alaska, I forget what town it was, in a couple of those inflatable suits. So there was a T-Rex and a pink unicorn puffy suit walking around on the streets waving at everybody to make everybody smile. And that was adorable to me.
Aww.
So, yeah, we can actually have something that resembles a little bit of fun in the middle of all this crap. But that was great. I thought that was really cool. State is in the process of distributing netbooks and taking information on who needs internet. Are you talking about your state, by the way, Felix? Because that's great. This is great. Yeah, at this point, any student that doesn't have a device or internet access is really going to be in a hard place right now.
That's going to be a true case of left behind at that point.
Yeah. Okay, so for Idaho, that's good. Some people are probably not going to like my saying this, but if you want to make sure that kids get what they need now, something tells me handing out prepackaged, if you will, Chromebooks for all of the students so that they can keep connected and keep up with studies is the correct way to go. Geez, the state handing out what is needed by those who are most at need. Geez, this only sounds like a good idea to me. I might be biased.
When you say the state, you mean you, actually, because you're paying for all that shit.
Well,
and I wouldn't mind one bit.
Nope, neither would I. Because if that's what it's going to take in order for these kids to get what they need, I got no issues with this. I have no issues with this whatsoever. I mean, the high school kids, they can be a little bit more self-motivated. But you start getting down into the middle school and the elementary school, there's a problem. Because you're starting to get into real legit homeschooling, and that's tough. Even for the people who are trying to do it right, that's challenging, tough. I don't know how some people are really going to be dealing with that. Anybody that's dealing with that, you have my respect, because that's not an easy job by any stretch of the imagination. And that is about the end of my coffee for tonight. Yes, I decided to use my big mug tonight. I'm sorry, Joseph.
Yeah, I'm just starting. I'm just tapping into my coffee reserve. I still got a liter to go.
He has a strategic coffee reserve. That's great. That's brilliant, man. That's good. That's great.
Yeah, I have to calculate my dose.
I'm sorry. For me, the only dosage is more.
The next step is an IV. But anyways.
Yeah, everything in moderation until it comes to coffee.
Yeah,
that's right.
Then the limiters are turned off.
And I still have no idea why it works. That's one thing I've never looked into.
Wait, why? What works?
Coffee.
Uh,
How and why caffeine works.
Oh, okay.
um,
The biological process of a stimulant, I think, is
Yeah,
what he's
but
getting at.
acting on what?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it.
I don't remember, but I'll tell you the one that's always screwed my head up. When I was working at the pharmacy, my first job, I always talk about this place. I learned something that blew my freaking mind about how Tylenol works. In the UK, you'd call it paracetamol, if I remember correctly. It's acetaminophen.
Yeah.
This chemical works. Wait a minute. Let me make sure that I'm thinking of the right one, because I might be thinking of a different drug. No, I am thinking of the wrong drug. Sorry. I take this back. We were talking about a drug that was used for helping people to regulate their mood swings. I'm sorry, I got to thinking about four different drugs at the same time. Sorry, and he explained it to me thusly: it depresses the depressant center of the brain in order to make someone feel better. And it took me a good 2 minutes of parsing that to understand what he meant. I don't remember what drug it was. And reminding you that this would have been the mid 80s, so I don't remember what would have been popular then. It depresses the depressant center of the brain.
It impedes the serotonin uptake, which means, it keeps the happy juices in your brain. Because normally after everything you do, you get a sense of reward from it. And after that initial sense of reward, your brain takes up the chemicals it used to create the sense of reward and puts it into reserve. And this drug keeps the body from reabsorbing these chemicals.
Speaking of chemicals, I got a Schadenfreude moment earlier this week, and I think most of us did, when we saw that Mr. Farmer Bro said that he wanted to be released for a little while from jail.
Oh, God, yes.
So that
this
he
guy
could work on the COVID-19 drugs to save the world.
I believe the quote was, "Let me out and I'll cure it. Let me out and I'll cure it." I believe that's what the headline said.
The guy's not a scientist.
Nope.
It doesn't work that way.
Nope.
The guy's an executive. He's an ass. That's it. The only thing he's good for is bending over and dropping the soap.
I'm sorry. I believe the term that you were looking for was asset manager, because that's all he is somebody that knows how to push numbers around in order to make money for himself. Brigid, did you hear about Mr. Martin?
You just cut out. Did I hear about what?
Mr. Martin, who went ahead and said, if you let me out of the clink for a while, I'll get to work on and saving the world from this coronavirus.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that Martin Shkreli guy, the guy that like jacked the price of
Pharma Bro.
Yeah,
Yes.
that moron.
Okay.
Waste of skin.
Yeah.
He's not a waste of skin. We could always make a book out of his face.
Oof.
No,
Okay,
don't preserve that. Don't preserve that.
No. I know a guy who's got a notebook, and it looks like Nicolas Cage's face is on it in kind of the way you're thinking, and it's just like, no, just no.
I'm sorry, I was making a reference to the Evil Dead, but I mean, sure, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's where this. Anyways, well, okay. One piece of good news up here. 3 companies managed to completely shift their manufacturing focus. I posted the article. I think it was in one of the other. Was it on? Sorry, I'm just doing a quick check here. Oh, it might have been on Facebook. Anyways, CBC ran a news article or a news report. There were 3 manufacturing companies up here in Canada that had shifted their focus to building face masks. Not the N95 things, but like face shields. Sorry, which is a second layer of protection against people speaking moistly. One of them.
I just hate that word.
Yeah. Anyways, but one
You
of them.
don't like moist?
Shh. Man's talking.
Moist.
Shush. Don't.
I've
I've got the knob right down below my left elbow right now. Don't make me use it.
Yeah, 4 words. Fix it in post.
This cup of coffee is really good.
You
it's really
can't
moistening
fix
my tongue.
this in post.
And he just cuts out. Anyways,
Fail.
well, one of the companies was talking about they were hiring like another 150 people to help with their production. They're ramping things up. He gave you a bit of a spiel about and the one thing he did mention was that all the raw materials that they're using, like all the plastic, all the things that they're building these things out of, all sourced locally. So no interruption to supply chain, no we're turning this ship around in the middle of the ocean BS.
Could.
One of the other companies was Bauer. Now, that might not mean anything to you guys, but up here, Bauer is a manufacturer, what I know of hockey equipment.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, I don't know if it's related to Eddie Bauer, but it's spelled the same.
Doubt it, but anyway.
Yeah, but no, like ice. I think I owned a pair of Bauer ice skates when I was a kid.
Me definitely.
Yeah, so Joseph knows what I'm talking about. Anyways, that company, they've shifted a lot of their production to face shield manufacture. They have also posted the schematics and instructions online so that if any other company wants to take a crack at building these things, if they've got the facilities to do it, they now have a template. And they've also done that so that if, let's say you've got a large scale company that has a lot of room for assembly, what they could do is ship the parts to that place, and they could all be they could be manufactured at another site, just to help, just to jack up the production of these things. These shields apparently have a 10 use limit before they become, I guess you can't even sterilize them after that, or they become unsafe at that point. So these guys are cranking these things out by the thousands. But the fact that they were just able to switch so fast and do it enthusiastically, like they were interviewing some of the workers and stuff like that, and they were glad to actually be helping. It wasn't. It was almost like how can we help? There was no looking. There was no press conference with the prime minister. There was no proselytizing, although I've got a few things to say about that if we ever get to that point. It was just okay, at the risk of sounding like a smug asshole, because I never do that, it just felt Canadian. It's the only way I could really describe it. It just felt like, yeah, that sounds like what a lot of people I know would actually do. They would just say, you know what, we got to do this. Now, to be fair,
To be fair.
the money to do like there was a grant that came from the Fed for them to do this. But the fact, no, just because they're not selling these things to the hospitals. They're making them and giving them. But
Yeah.
people still got to make a buck, but they can't make it selling their own product because they're not making their own product. Not that there being much of a market for that product right now. Anyways, what they actually make is I can't remember it right now. But so there was a bit of federal incentive for them to do this, but the fact that they had the facilities and they had the desire to actually do it, because they could have told the Fed to go piss up a rope, but they didn't. And the fact that Bauer, which is a major sporting goods manufacturer, also got into this and said, you know what? Yeah, we'll take that part. Okay, face shields, straps for face shields, go. That says a lot.
Yeah.
I'll find that article and post it and get you the link so we can throw it in the show notes.
Yeah, what Dalan also reminded me of is one of the channels that I follow on YouTube is for Linus Tech Tips. I am not plugging them. I will, however, link in show notes for the video about it. But the guys from LTT had gotten in touch with some of the local 3D enthusiasts to see what they could do to help out. They were apparently going to be getting a bunch of 3D makers. I forget what model, doesn't really much matter, for a project that they were going to be working on because, they plan ahead. And then all this stuff happened, and they're just like, well, we've got all these 3D printers. What can we do? And they got in touch with some of the 3D groups in the area, which for them is up around Surrey, British Columbia, is where they're based out of.
Okay.
So they got in touch with 4 different groups and said, what can we build with these? Oh, we can do the stuff for the face shields with the 3D printers. So what they're building are not the actual, clear front of them, because obviously, we can't do that currently. But the pieces that actually sit on the head and flip up and down to do the stuff, they got going with that with a lot of 3D printers and found some technological problems and then fixed them, and they've been cranking out. And apparently it takes them about, I think the number was about 8 hours per in order to make one. But they're continuing to do it, and they're giving them to the hospital. And before you get to that, Tech, real quickly, Brigid, we know full well that this kind of stuff is in really short supply. But I don't think anybody really thinks about it in terms of how much of this stuff can you go through when you're in a situation like this, because I don't think anybody really considers how quickly, let's say, for instance, a box of 100, not even latex gloves, because you can't use latex all the time, because, that would be bad when you finally find the one person that's allergic to the shit.
Yeah, I'm allergic to latex.
So if you're an emergency level doctor and nurse, and you're seeing all these people, and who only knows how many of them are coming in, because, well, I don't know what the new numbers are currently, because I haven't looked it up. If you've got basically people just coming in at a steady stack for let's see, what should it be? Is it a 10 or 12 hour shift?
Yeah, you're going to need a lot of gloves. I couldn't even tell you how many. I used to go through, I don't know, a box of 50 in 2 days, but that was, with the patient like once an hour. I can't even imagine how many gloves are going through now.
Because I can imagine at this point that folks are dealing with a patient every 10 minutes, if you're lucky, depending as to how things are going right now.
Yeah, and I think the standard nitrile gloves were coming in like 100 gloves to a box.
Yep, that would be typical.
Yeah, it's a lot of gloves.
That also means that you are going to go through those face shields pretty damn quick too, because those are supposed to be use it once and then get it sterilized, wouldn't it be?
That's not what's happening though, but yeah.
And sterilization is not always the way that we think of it. Some people think of it as in terms of crap. I never remember what the name of the damn thing is. The high pressure, high steam
Autoclave.
autoclave. Thank you. Yeah, you can't do that with plastics.
No.
So they
well,
have a chemical way of doing it, which it breaks down various other chemicals after a while, because it's kind of caustic, which is what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even the chemical labs, you have to clean them out every so often. Like we used to do ours once a week, because yeah.
Which means those of you that are lucky enough to have the N95 stuff, yeah, be exceptionally careful with them. Those of you that need them, because cleaning them is questionable and dubious. But we do what we have to, I suppose.
I think what they're probably doing now, I mean, I'm just guessing, but probably taking like a bleach solution and spraying them, letting them dry. But that would still degrade it.
Yeah, but
I think that's probably what they're doing, though.
And like I've said on how many occasions, this qualifies as a BTN solution. Better than nothing. But that's also for however long that's going to last. I hope I didn't completely derail you at that point, Tech. Sorry.
No, it was just a light nod at those who are doing creative stuff with the kind of the 3D printing technologies and things that we just don't think of. There was a young man who asked around what he could do, and apparently one of the nurses had made mention that the masks were hurting and cutting into their ears. Now this picture is all over Reddit. If you haven't seen it, you're not on Reddit.
I'm not.
And so the young man got his 3D printer out, and he basically built this little tiny plastic widget.
Yep.
Just something about this length of a popsicle stick with some little rounded hooks onto it. And you place it behind your head, and instead of putting the straps on your ears, you put your straps on this. And since the hooks are, segmented out, you can adjust it for comfort. And then one or two of the nurses took a picture wearing them, and apparently it made them very happy. And that wasn't something that's required to make the mask work. That was something to ease the pain and suffering of the medical practitioners. I can't imagine. Well, let me rephrase that. I can imagine the pain. If anybody's ever watched Patton, the movie, good movie. We can argue about it later. There is a point in the movie where a particular person, and I can't remember which one, takes off their glasses, and instead of having regular legs, the glasses, the feet of the legs, or the feet of the glasses, curve around in a hook. They're an actual spring, is what they are. And they hook around so that no matter how much you get jockeyed around, how much you fall, tumble, spill, your glasses are not coming off your head.
Yep, I've got a pair like that.
I had a pair like that in junior high. It was the first and last pair I ever bought like that, because I sawed a hole in the top of my ears from pulling them straight off like I did normal glasses. Because remember, it's lots of little tiny segments. So over time, you're literally sawing away like sandpaper the flesh. These rubber bands that these masks have, the ones that are elastic, they have, cloth around them. Those are like little tiny rivets. So them having holes in the backs of their ears being cut by these things, yeah, I know their pain. And I went through it when I was a little kid, and I'm not under all those stressors or anything else like that. I feel for them. I really do. And this little comfort that he brought them, you got to love kids. They think of things.
Yeah.
I said it before and I'll say it again. We need more kids in charge. Kids who have not been taught to hate, who have not been taught to segregate, who have not been taught to be racist. And say what you want about whether or not they've been taught religion. If they haven't been taught the hateful parts yet, if they haven't been taught the you must fear God above all else yet, if they've just been taught that they're supposed to love one another and the world is for humanity, I could see that going either way, but more likely in the positive with the rest of the kids. And that's just my thoughts,
No, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, the innovations will typically end up coming from those people who have not been told you can't do that and have internalized it. Sometimes that's the young, sometimes that's the old, sometimes it's just the people who just, well, why not? Well, I don't care where it comes from. Good idea is a good idea. And inventive ideas are, as much as we think, well, we've got a handle on pretty much everything. I mean, what else is there to be learned? What else is there to be created that hasn't been thought of already? Yeah, it's pretty impressive what people come up with when you just don't even put a boundary on anything.
Age does do that in part. Over time, the human brain and the human mind, you've come to accept certain limitations. But you're right, when you don't accept those limitations, when you go like, all right, fine, that way doesn't make a light bulb. Let me try the next way. And the next way, and the next way, and the next method, and the next method. There's a lot of people who would have given up trying to create the light bulb. Not saying Thomas Edison was a great man, but he did invent a very good invention. And he had that persistence that was needed to figure out how to do it. Some people would say, oh, well, he was a genius. And other people would say, well, he wasn't a genius. He just knew what he wanted, but he didn't know how to get there. So he took the really, really long road to get there. Either way, it worked. Both methods work. The problem is allowing the people a chance to do that. When you start shutting down scientific inquiry, when you start shutting down education, when you start shutting down the ability to communicate with one another, and you shut down the conversation. And I'm not just saying this to conservatives, I'm saying this to all sides. Young people going around going, okay, boomer, just because they didn't like what some other older person said, that's wrong. Check to see what they said. They may have something said absolutely factually correct. You just didn't like it. You need to recognize in yourself that you just didn't like it, not that they were incorrect.
Yep. And Stephanie, ain't science great? Man,
it can be.
It is.
I think the scientific method is great, but how we use that, the science that we create with the scientific method, that can be used for greatness, or like any hammer, it can be used to create something wonderful, like a home for somebody, or it can be used to kill. Hammer blow to the back of the head. It can be used to heal, or it can be used to harm.
It's a tool.
It is a tool. And right now we see two sides. We see one side using it to try to heal and help. And, I hear people constantly saying, oh, God bless them for that. God bless them for that. God bless them for that. And it's like, if you really think they're that blessed, there's some things you could probably donate, maybe make a sandwich or something, don't just say it, show it.
Yeah, there's a piece about that. And I want to kind of throw this over to all you guys, because I mean, I know we're getting closer to the top of the hour, so I gotta be a little bit mindful. I'm sure that you guys have all seen the picture of the text that says that science is busy working on curing this, while religion is waiting in the wings just so that they can scoop in and take the credit.
Ugh.
There's that one. And then there's another one that says, for all of you people who are anti-vax, this is what happens when we are missing one vaccination. Is this the world you want us all to live in? And I'm paraphrasing that one highly because I don't really remember. I want to throw that one out there for you guys because I have seen these many times over, and all I can say is I want to comment so much, but I don't know how to say it without being an absolute pretentious, self-aggrandizing asshole. And I don't want to be that guy right now. I really don't want to be that guy.
The truth of the matter is that the one about how science is busy trying to solve the problem and religion's waiting to step in to take the credit, when you look at organized religion, it's not wrong. That poster, that picture, it's not wrong. If you look at the facts throughout history, religion has said the world is flat. The religious leaders have used religion to say the world is flat because how can something be above and below on a sphere, And we as human beings, when we have an idea in our head, especially one that's been drilled in, it's hard to change. That the world was made, that humans were made in God's image. Okay. Scientifically speaking, we know better. How many people are willing to admit it? To this day and age, still not a lot of people are willing to admit the facts. Okay. Science, if you look at the Catholic Church, they used to say evolution, that's a no-no. Now they say, oh yeah, well, it's part of God's tools. God used this method to do all these things, depending on who's the Pope, that is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not giving the best examples, but the point is that you look at just about damn near every religious leader that is on a television, a radio, or some kind of platform where they get their voice heard. And if somebody is able to, if some doctor is able to find an absolute cure to this, something that makes it so that not only it ends up being working as a vaccine for those who don't have it, it ends up killing the virus in those who do have it without having any truly negative side effects. People say, oh, they found it because God was guiding them. Rather than giving credit to their education, to their background, to their studies, and to whatever team of other doctors and scientists they work with, some religious nut, whether they be in a position of a flock or otherwise, will say they only did that because God helped them. Well, really? Why did we have to wait so long for God to help? And I'm really enjoying watching the people who say, "Oh, this is punishment for homosexuality," and then they get it.
Yeah, it was.
Those make me laugh, by the way. Coldly, impassionately, uncaringly makes me laugh, because those are very vile and hateful people.
Yeah, I was gonna mention about that one too, because I very specifically wanted to get Brigid on that one in particular too, and actually, I specifically wanted to get Brigid and Joseph because very different angles on this one, because there was the one rabbi, I think, in Israel who had gone ahead and done that, and he's tested positive now. And that's why I wanted to get both of you in particular for that one.
There was
very specifically.
Imam that happened in the spirit of Heretic Woman. There was one of the Muslim leaders that said the same thing, and he got it.
So, Joseph, the idea that these guys are yelling and screaming and it's all because of you people who are just not following our way, and oh wait, I got the disease too. There's got to be a small part of you that just goes, yeah, see, you insulted the great God Murphy. That's what happens. Or are you not there? Oh, he's not back yet.
That must be a really long.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, so
But,
since you gotta
He
wait,
really had to poop.
but I'm guilty of, engaging a little schadenfreude from time to time.
especially for this one.
Well, I mean, God's supposed to protect all these people from this coronavirus stuff, which is why they want to go to church tomorrow, because God's not going to let anything happen to them. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. You're not immune. You don't have some big sky daddy that'll just go and get all the bugs off of you.
Oh God, like that. What was his name? The guy who he was one of those preachers. He like you know the guy I'm talking, Copeland.
Yeah.
Kenneth Copeland.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was
You're
crazy.
all cured. Bullshit.
I would really like there to be class action lawsuits of people, families, I should say, of people who believed and then went and did wrong things and got themselves sick and died. And the families coming back and suing the ever-loving bejesus out of these guys.
You know what? I'd be willing to bet that if anything like that ever popped up, there would be quiet settlements on the part of these people or some other nefarious thing to silence it as fast as possible. And what do I use as my what's my basis for this? The fact that people who charlatans, that everyone from James Randi to Thunderfoot to DPR Jones have, figuratively speaking, put against the wall more times than can be counted, are still doing the same thing.
Peter Popoff.
And still Peter Popoff, that oh God, what's his name?
We don't need to go any further than that.
Yeah,
that's a class example.
Yeah, but that's my point. It's the fact that guys like Copeland, guys like Osteen, although I haven't heard much from him lately. I don't know, maybe he chipped a tooth or something, needs to get it fixed. I don't know.
Pat Robertson.
Nice. There's a guy I haven't listened to a lot. I haven't seen much from lately, although I guess he's still out there doing his thing because apparently, okay, you know what? I want an ancestry test between him and Keith Richards. There's got to be some kind of longevity gene there. But anyways, to my point, these guys are still out there doing what they do, even after they've been debunked so hard that these guys were trounced so hard when they hit the ground, they should have bounced, but they're still out there. People out there are still willing to give money to these con men for salvation or whatever. So whatever we've been doing or whatever others have been doing, obviously it hasn't been working because these guys are still out there doing their thing. This is Batman having to go after the Joker every other week because, well, you stopped him today, but tomorrow he's going to do exactly the same thing. And now I'm not one to condone, final violence in a cartoon like that. It does make you wonder. Look at Kent Hovind. He got out of jail for tax evasion, and what was he doing? He was right back where he started. So, honestly, you ask me why I don't have a lot of faith that, things are going to change after all this is over. Those are my examples why I don't believe, sure, things will change a little bit. Maybe we'll have a little bit of a short-term change. But by the time we all retire, we're going to be right back where we started. I can see it.
Well, I think that the few of us that do question ourselves and question things, we're going to be a little more active. Because if anything, this epidemic or pandemic, sorry, it's a great demonstration of how the general populace behaves. And it's one thing because when you're an autonomous thinker, it's one thing to observe other people's behavior and understand why they're doing what they're doing. But it's another thing completely to believe actually that people can be this way. And if we're going to make ourselves heard, to avoid any future disasters, for the, like Sam Harris says, this is probably just a dress rehearsal for a worse virus or a worse disease that's yet to come. We have to get prepared for that, and that involves a certain amount of education. So all these people who are behaving irresponsibly, they need to be educated, and it becomes a matter of survival. To ourselves, to educate others. We have to become more involved. If anything, we've learned that. Of course, the people who are just floating along, expecting all the providers to fix everything for them, yeah, they're not going to change because the universe, they made it through, so everything's the same for them. But for those of us who have seen the actual effect that bad ideas can have, then that's going to change for us.
Yeah, what I'm waiting for is, a lot of YouTubers and stuff are gonna do like the COVID-19 post-mortem. I should trademark that because I can make so much money off that. But everybody's gonna say, was everything we went through really necessary? And there will be people who are going to ask that. And they're going to have their followers going to say, yeah, this whole thing was blown way out of proportion. And the like. And it's our nature. And people are going to try as hard as they can to distance themselves from all of this. They're going to want to get back to normal as fast and as quickly as possible. And they don't care, if it was irrational, illogical, or whatever. It's just like, no, everything's normal now. We're done. We can go back. Let's get our stuff made in China and blah, 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 blah. Profit. And yeah, we'll be right back where we started.
Well, you're talking for the people who are aware of, I mean, how things are going, like profit people who are profiting from a general state of ignorance. Yeah, they want to go back to the way things were, and I mean, the people that didn't make it through, too bad, collateral damage.
Well, I
But
mean, I've already started seeing, now granted, checking the pulse of the world by watching YouTube is not exactly what I would call a smart thing. Like they say, never take medical advice from podcasters.
Right.
I mean, the world is not YouTube, but the fact that there are people out there who will say stuff like that, and the fact that there are people who follow them who will agree. It would be like saying, you know what, aliens came, they devastated 80% of the world, and the 20% that are left are gonna be looking around going, yeah, that wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah, if only.
Or wait for somebody to say that the whole thing was a hoax.
Somebody had said that when you're in the middle of this, or just at the end of this, all of the safety precautions, people will end up saying, why did you try so hard to stifle everyone? And the historians and the people reading the records afterwards are going to be the ones to say, why didn't you try harder? We don't have the luxury of knowing what history is as we're writing it. It's a big old pain in the ass. We're getting very close to needing to close out over here. But there was there are two bright spots that I want to make mention to as we get out of here. Item one is kind of the flip side to what Stephanie had put. What turns my stomach is the stupid clap for the NHS nonsense. Stay indoors and demand proper funding for the NHS would actually do something. Okay. For those people that might be living in an area where they would see these folks, that they could open up their windows and applaud for the folks as they're coming in and out of hospitals. Okay, I can see them doing that. That's a different thing. People congregating to do that, yeah, that's sketchy as all hell. On the other side of that one, I don't know if you've heard about the thing where people have been opening their doors, stepping outside of their front doors, and literally howling into the air at 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night or whatever the hell time it is.
Well, DC did one at 5 p.m. on Friday last week.
Did they?
It was coordinated. It was to make some noise in respect and appreciation for the people who work in the front lines, the grocery stores, the doctors, the nurses, the truck drivers who haul everything around, the delivery people, even the people working over at Domino's.
Yep. And the reason why I'm smiling and smirking, and some people can probably hear it or whatever, I'm sure that Dalan's going to appreciate this one. There was a push in the furry community to outlaw a woo. Well, you know what? It's probably a good thing that got rescinded, because that means that we now have an entire populace that don't realize that they've been turned into furries.
That's brutal, man, but good.
Well, I don't know about anybody else. I'll take it.
Oh, Dalan, did you see this movie poster down here?
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, good Lord. I hadn't seen that one.
The Hangover is preceded by the Passover.
Of course it is.
But I could just see Dalan going, 12 buddies, 3 days, one unforgettable weekend. The
12
hangover.
buddies, 3 days, 1 unforgettable weekend.
So
The
now we know what-
Hangover.
Now we know what really happened.
We need what's his butt to come back from the grave in order to, in a world where 12 men could get together and not have anyone question them. One man has dinner with them all.
In theaters this July, The Last Supper.
Boys, eat me, drink me. That's just
Oh! Oh!
Starring
oh,
Richard
oh.
Simmons as Jesus Christ.
okay. You're off the show. You're off the show.
Hey, you started it.
He started it. It's true. He just
You
finished it.
frickin' started it. I just took it to its logical conclusion.
Do not
okay,
blame
okay.
Dalan
Okay.
for finishing it.
Okay. Okay.
You zeroed
Okay.
yourself there, buddy.
Okay. Oh.
Hey!
Okay.
Who wants wine?
Okay.
Oh God, that's
Okay.
the next time I hear somebody proselytizing about Jesus, that is going into my head. Oh,
I think it's brilliant.
Remember, you have to keep it in the right order. It's eat me, drink me. It has to be in that order, otherwise it doesn't work.
well, yeah, it's the body and blood of Christ. I get that. Okay, you know what?
You know,
No, you know, okay, we need to keep that one. We need to keep that pilot light lit just a little bit. Why? 2 words. Jazz cross.
Jazzy, honey.
Yes.
Bubble.
Yeah, because I know Jazz has a reputation for confronting those street preachers downtown Calgary.
That's a good point.
I don't, because I usually have an overwhelming urge to. Okay, look, the barbecue smells really good, but honestly, I'd want to take a chicken bone and gouge their eyes out. But that's another thing.
I can't say that I blame you.
But imagine someone like Jazz. I've never met her personally. I'd love to, actually, just to say hi.
One day.
Yeah, but just imagine, like, there's dude giving his sermon, and then she just jumps up with that, with the "eat me, drink me, I'm Jesus." You know, that would be epic.
I'm Spartacus. I'm Jesus.
So help me, I can't hear I'm Spartacus without hearing Carol Channing being going through, you know.
Carol
just-
Channing is Jesus. Eat me, drink me.
And the only way you could make it worse, if you had Rich Little impersonating Carol Channing impersonating Jesus.
See, you can't drink me. Everything's already gone into my cold, decrepit, desiccated skin. I'm going to hell. The last good story that I saw this week was a restaurant that decided that they were not going to go down without a fight, and they were going to do right by their people, and they got all of the lucky money that had been signed with good luck messages off of their walls and gave it to their employees so that they would have something, even if they couldn't pay them because they're basically closed.
And did you
Nice.
hear how much all those lucky bills tallied up to? 'Cause I did.
I think, and please correct me, I think it was somewhere a little in excess of $3,000.
$3,700.
More than I thought.
Very nice.
I have no idea where this was off the top of my head. I'll have to look up the thing so I can put it in the notes. I don't care where it was. I don't care what individual group it was. If you have a business and you have the ability of doing this, it is your duty. It is your responsibility to do that.
Is a human being.
Exactly.
You saw what Bernie's doing, right? He's keeping all the people who was working for him, all of them, on till November for their health insurance policies.
Yep.
I also heard that he's anybody who donated to his campaign, they're getting their refunds. I thought I heard.
I didn't hear that, so I can neither confirm nor deny.
And some car insurance companies are lowering rates or giving some rebates because basically nobody's traveling. So that one's kind of a double-edged sword because at the same time, hey, cool, you're bringing down rates a bit. That's great.
I can't imagine how many car accidents there's going to be when people are started to allowed to go back.
It'll be like a worldwide first snow.
I'm actually worried.
Yeah, any place that gets that first snowfall in the year, everybody knows the collective IQ plummets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll have to see. I'm not quite sure what I want to say to close. So we guys have pretty much had most of the show for tonight. Joseph, was there anything last that you wanted to get in, because you've had like the least amount of time tonight to really talk?
Yeah, I thought I talked a lot. But nothing really to add. Just yeah. Well, learn as much as you can from. If there's going to be an after for all of this, we have to be prepared for it. Because, I mean, like Dalan said earlier, we can't install some sort of totalitarian system to prevent this. I mean, so, if the present system isn't working, those of us able and willing to do it, are, we have to talk amongst ourselves what it should be. And make that discussion as wide as possible.
True that. And as far as to who ends up talking the most, I kind of keep in my head who's talking and how much we all talk, because I don't want to dominate everything, and I want to try to make sure that we all get. And it's tonight you were on the lower end. Brigid, you too. What have you got last that you want to stick in here, if anything?
Not really much of anything. If you haven't seen Life of Brian, that's like the perfect Easter movie. Go watch it. It's also good at Christmas too, but that's our Christmas and Easter go-to. And fuck Mike Pence.
You've moved that up from your personal closing with everything. You just want to get it in there twice, don't you?
Well, sure.
Okay, that's perfectly understandable. I'm just checking. I got no problem with that. Gentlemen, we've had the most time. Is there anything very, very short that's left over that we haven't said, or you two in particular? Dalan, Tech.
Toss a nod to your service people in this time of. Okay, that was a bad time of toss a coin to your Witcher, but you know what I mean.
That's fair.
If you know somebody who's involved in one of these real essential services, doctor, nurse, caregiver, service people, or whatever, do what you can to thank them. And quote from Robots: "See a need, fill a need, if you can."
You stole that.
Because like they say, make sure your mask is secured before you help with somebody else's. Don't overextend yourself to the point that you become the martyr at the end of all of this. I mean, there's a lot I'd love to do, but unfortunately I can't. I'm not working right now. So save my two hands to help build something. Like money, I can't really contribute at this point, but if someone else needs me for something else, I'm here.
And Tech, any last quick?
I think I've been monopolizing most of the night. I'm pretty good.
Okay. I did see that Doc Waxon showed up. You're right. You got lucky this time. Yeah, we should have actually been closed up, so you get recognized. I'll make this very quick. We collectively know full well that this is a really, really important time for a lot of religious groups right now. We don't share in that with you, but we respect you enough to say we're sorry that a lot of plans of getting together with family are kind of shot to shit right now. We know full well that we don't share the same stuff that you guys do, but we do share in being isolated and not being able to be with each other. We're sorry for it. But be mindful of who you might do bad to just by being around. Look at it this way. We may not agree on the stuff, but we agree that we want you healthy. You can argue with us later about whether or not your stuff is real. And if you keep yourself safe, we'll be able to have that conversation later. Always think of yourself at this point the same way as we do a gun. The gun is always loaded. In the middle of a pandemic, you are always infected. Don't give it to somebody else. Even if you've been locked up for a month and you're safe, just don't tempt the fates. And there's one item that Stephanie had just said. A perfect example. There's a front door and a back door out of my building. I use the back door because my neighbors, who are old and with chronic conditions, use the front door. Simple. You don't have to go crazy. Well done. So with that, we got to get our butts out of here because I got a lot of stuff to look up and, well, Lord knows, I could use a little bit of spin down tonight because I had a really hard time of it last night. Like I said, I had a really hard time the last couple of days. So I'm really glad we had a good night tonight. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. We hope that you had yourself an enjoyable time and found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives. Again, over in the live chat, thank you very much. Felis, good to see you. Doc, hope that your morning goes well. Got to check in on you and see what's going on. And of course, Stephanie, keep doing what you're doing. We can never know how many people we end up helping. We can always figure out how many people we've harmed. And you're doing a really good job doing that, of trying to keep those folks safe. Good job. Joseph, a good morning to you. Take care. Good luck with all the projects, man. And remember, label every wire, because I'm pretty sure that somebody didn't label all those wires. Now's your big opportunity, right? Joseph is muted. That's brilliant. Where are you?
You know,
us
guys have a thing called morning wank. I think he took second morning.
Yeah, I was actually answering you. I said you don't know how right you are about the labeling.
No, I know.
But in this case, well, I don't know if you want to do the math, but I have about 170 ports per switch bay to test, and 3 switch ports by floor, and there's probably a total of 7 floors. So do the number. You know how long it takes to label each individual wire?
Oh yeah, I can well imagine.
Well, it takes me about 3 seconds to test each port with the script I wrote. But to label it, I'd probably be there until next year.
Possibly. For what it's worth, by the way, once upon a time, my wife was was helping out with the telephone, inbound telephone sales for, amongst other companies, Seiko.
Oh wow.
And it was at the time when the Seiko label printers were all the rage. And she got a label maker with a crap ton of labels. I have still many boxes of these labels, and I use them for labeling all of my wires. So if you're in need of labels, let me know. I'd be more than happy to ship over a whole bunch of them, because they're here and they're still. You could, I'll even send you a couple of Sharpies so you can write on them. How's that? You don't care at all, do you?
Well, of course I care.
See,
If you were talking to me.
I'm sorry. Did I end up dropping out that you just did this whole happy thing that I just did completely went bypassed you?
No, I heard it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were addressing me or not. You said that you don't care about it. You did drop out a couple times, so probably I missed
Okay,
it.
never mind. It's fine.
Well, anyways, yeah. Well, thanks for the thought, and you all take care. So
You too,
You
man.
as well.
Good luck. Tech. Oh, what can I say? Yeah. Thank you. You try to take care of yourself, and good luck with all of your circles.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are some positive things going on right now. For example, my son's mother works in the medical field, and while there are some things that I would say not very knowledgeable on, dealing with what's going on right now, she's got it down. And she and I are both on the same page, which is very unusual, but unusual circumstances, unusual times. So,
It's hard to disagree about reality.
yeah, it is. And there are positives in all this, and the positives is that we've both silently agreed to be adults, to grow up, and
Good.
Do the right things that need to be done because they're the right things, not because we like them or want them or it holds somebody's head over to another. And I got to say, I'm seeing both sides doing the right thing, not just me, not just her.
Good. Still, best of luck with you for the week coming up.
Appreciate
man.
it.
You take care of yourself.
Thank you too.
Brigid, it's your big opportunity to go ahead and add that second one in, of course, with everything. So thank you, of course, for your time as usual tonight.
Well, if you want to find me, you can find me at my blog at bridgetfitch2112.wordpress.com. And fuck Mike Pence.
Any word how stuff is going with you guys over at Trailer Park yet?
Nothing yet. We're still on hiatus. I don't know for how long.
Fair enough. No worries.
Yeah.
And Dalan, of course, as always, thank you ever so much.
Yeah, glad to be here as always. And of course, if anybody wants to know, I am the curator of the audio version of this show over at podcast.com. And for any other random thoughts, you can always catch that over at inthewind.yo5.ca.
So, yeah. I apologize. I'm just kind of overwhelmed with a sudden thought about all the stuff that's changing right now, and I'm trying to put this all out of my head for the moment because I got a job to finish off. As Dalan said, holycrapthevlogcast.com's got all your information, including all of our social links. The download is right over there, and the phone number if you would like to send us a message. 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554. Something other than, fuck you would be nice. Something with a little panache. Keep trying. Appreciate it.
Well, fuck you with the smiley faces. Okay.
Yeah, they don't do that to whatever. On behalf of Joey, of course, you all have yourselves hope that you have yourself a good weekend because, family, get together and all that. And I think it's kind of remiss if I don't say this time because we miss you, Heretic Woman. This would have been the show that you would have just been darling for. But oh no, you got to go ahead and just get yourself all kind of unalived. The fuck is wrong with you? Oh yeah, you did enough. You set the wheels in motion. Good job. So, we will see you all again next week. I need to see about getting some guests in because there are things that I want to do, not the least of which is, and I didn't tell this to anybody yet, but because of stuff that's been said over on Facebook, I am giving very serious consideration to having a Reason Con get-together again.
A what together? You dropped out.
Reason Con.
Oh. Virtual one?
Yeah. I don't know how well it can work, but I'm willing to give it a try. And I need to get in touch with some folks to see what we can do about that. In any case, keep that in the back of your head. I don't know what I can do yet, but I'm going to be investigating. So you all take care of yourselves and try to enjoy your weekend. As always, until the next time we get together, everyone, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. Be careful out there. Be safe. And we'll be looking forward to talking to you again. And my lady, it is almost 15 years. I am still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Until the next time we get together, everyone, as always, good night.